Just before 9 last evening, Environment Canada issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Sault Ste. Marie, St. Joseph Island, Searchmont, Montreal River Harbor, and Batchewana Bay. Meteorologists are tracking a line of severe thunderstorms capable of producing very strong wind gusts up to nickel-size hail and heavy rain. Take cover immediately if threatening weather approaches. Heavy downpours can cause flash floods and water pooling on roads. Strong wind gusts can toss loose objects, damage weak buildings, break branches off trees, and overturn large vehicles. The Neighbourhood Resource Centre was at it again yesterday afternoon. They teamed up with City Police to celebrate their 5th anniversary. Their slogan, "Committed to Community Wellness," is an idea shared between them and police officers. On TV, caught up with Chief Hugh Stevenson.
Well, this is the Neighbourhood Resource Centre, and we've been here for 5 years, and we started out with 7 partnerships, and we're now up to 40. And for me, that just shows how much community interest we have in taking care of the vulnerable in this community. The previous chief showed leadership by engaging the relationships in the community, and through the entire police service and his leadership, this thing came into being. And the police there always gives a sense of safety in the area, given some of the clientele we're dealing with. Some people come into crisis, we're right there, we can deal with it. But it's not about policing. This is about a relationship in the community between partnerships. And it's about how we all pull together from all of our resources, whether it's Mike Natto's area with social services, whether it's housing, food banks. We're all here. The medical and mental health industry is here, nurses. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, where people can walk in, not be judged, and be helped. And the other big piece of this is that vulnerable people in the community know they can come here and get help. And that's a hugely positive thing. We've had a number of occurrences lately where people have come here to get help, whether they're in crisis or they're victims. And so the role of the police here is not always enforcement, but it's about supporting these people and ensuring public safety both here and across the city. I think it's important for all of us to understand what services are available in a community. And the whole point of this, with the band playing and some hot dogs and burgers, is simply to entice people to understand the services that are in their community. And the reason for that is they may never use these services, but everybody has a friend, a brother, a mother who may or may not be in crisis someday. And you need to know, as a resident of the Soo, that people care.
Police north of Toronto say 2 missing children who were the subject of an Amber Alert early today have been found and are safe. In a tweet, York Regional Police said the 2 young brothers, aged 2 and 4, were found with their grandfather this morning driving down Lakeshore Boulevard in Toronto. Earlier, the force had issued an Amber Alert for the boys who'd last been seen yesterday afternoon with their 70-year-old grandfather at a mall in Newmarket. Police say the kids and their grandfather are in good health and were located as a direct result of that Amber Alert. The Saskatchewan government has agreed to host up to 2,000 people who've been forced from their homes by wildfires in Northern Ontario. The Ontario government says more than 20 communities in the province have been affected by those fires, including residents of Pikangikum First Nation. Earlier yesterday, the chief of the Indigenous community said evacuation by land and water had been put on hold because of a lack of places to send her people. Premier Doug Ford said emergency response personnel are working closely with the OPP and other agencies to fight the fires and ensure people can evacuate safely. Ford said he asked Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe for help. Moe said his government will place the Ontario evacuees in Regina, Saskatoon, and in Prince Albert.
We will be calling on our federal government to provide a stronger leadership role with respect to representing the jurisdictions, the territories, and the provinces and the industries that are operating in our territories and provinces, and ultimately the companies that are operating in those industries, calling on our federal government to take a leadership role in asking for an exemption with respect to the Buy American policy that is damaging many of our industries here in Canada.
Canada's premiers want the federal government to seek an exemption from the United States for its Buy American measures. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe and Quebec Premier François Legault held a news conference yesterday after the morning session of the annual Premiers Conference in Saskatoon. Moe says the federal government needs to lobby more with the U.S. and negotiate an exemption for Canadian businesses. The Buy American measures require 65% local content on public transportation projects and that assembly be done south of the border. Ontario Premier Doug Ford has said it's that requirement that has led to Bombardier announcing plans to lay off half of its workforce in Thunder Bay.
The problem that was raised by Bombardier today was about the Buy America Act. They had an important contract in U.S. that is ending, and they have rough time getting more contract in the United States because of the Buy America Act. So that's why we all decided together that we need more leadership from the Prime Minister of Canada to negotiate an exemption.
They had responded to East Boston for a report of a possibly emotionally disturbed person, a psychiatric patient. They were transporting that patient to the Mass General when the patient became unruly in the back of the truck.
Police say a Boston emergency responder was stabbed several times by a patient in an ambulance. The EMT was taken to a hospital and is expected to survive. The patient was arrested.
Patient/suspect reportedly also had either some sort of OC or mace on her person and proceeded to spray her partner.
That EMT and our partner were transported to Mass General for treatment of their injuries. These EMTs did not deserve this. Every day they go out and they help people, they save lives. They did not deserve to be attacked.